Hey guys, for my next bet, I'm betting on Deontay Wilder Moneyline against Tyson Fury. The fight is February 22nd. So far, I've bet 400 to win 410 on Deontay Wilder. On this YouTube channel, this is my first underdog bet. Last year, I went 7-1 and I won $1,000. So it was a good year, but I didn't have any big bets. Before I get started, I just want to say one thing: is I was looking over like my stats and stuff. I graduated university 7 years ago, and then since then I've been working full time, self-employed, right? And over the past 7 years, I've had four sources of income. So the first is live cash game poker. So that's mostly going to the casino or playing poker in Las Vegas. And in 7 years, I've had 6 winning years and 1 losing year, right? And then my second source would be online poker. And I've had 2 winning years and 5 losing years, but I've still managed to make money because my winning years have far outweighed my losing years. And then in investing, I've only been doing it for 5 years. So I started investing 5 years ago, but since starting, I've had 4 winning years and only 1 losing year. But for boxing handicapping, last source of income, in 7 years, I've had 7 winning years. So I haven't even had 1 losing year. So I feel like I don't know, just seeing that, I was like, oh, that's kind of a cool thing to just see that, the one place where I've been yet to have a losing year is handicapping boxing fights. And overall, though, it's only been about 5% of my income. But still, I guess it's kind of like a low-stakes hobby, and I don't really make that many bets a year, right? I'm probably average around 7 or 8 bets a year. But I've still managed to go 7-0, so I thought that was a cool thing. So the last time Wilder and Fury fought, it was a draw. And the thing in that fight was, Fury won most of the rounds, but Wilder had 2 knockdowns, right? And a lot of people were saying, well, they felt that Fury, should have won the fight because he won most of the rounds. But I guess it was kind of close because Wilder had 2 knockdowns. But if you look at the knockdown, especially in the 12th round, there's a few things. One, Fury for like 4 or 5 seconds was like completely out cold. And the ref could have actually stopped the fight right there and not even bothered counting, which you see happen all the time. And then the other thing was the ref did a really slow count. It seems like he gave him close to 14 or 15 seconds to recover, which is, I don't think if you had the normal 10 seconds, I don't think Fury beats the count. So in that sense, I felt like felt that Wilder won. But then there's another argument that, maybe Tyson Fury won 9 rounds or 8 rounds. And if that's the case, even if you give Wilder the 2 knockdowns, then Fury comes out ahead, right? So it was a close fight, so doing a rematch. One of the things I noticed too was, I was saying this to my friend after they fought, because everyone was saying, oh, they're going to do a rematch. I was like, yeah, there's no way Tyson Fury's going to do a rematch right away after being like knocked out like that, right? Think about it. He got knocked out really bad. He got up and whatever, survived the round and went to a decision, but he didn't go and say, okay, let's do a rematch right away the way Wilder wanted to. He went, he signed with Top Rank, and now he had 2 interim fights to kind of try and promote this big rematch fight, right? But the thing is, during his two fights, he fought 2 guys that were pretty much terrible fighters. They both were ranked around 30th in the world, whereas Wilder went and fought 2 top 10 ranked contenders, right? I think Brazil was ranked 9 or 10, and Luis Ortiz was ranked 5th. So Wilder's still fighting, decent competition, whereas Fury was just fighting easy competition to just try and build his profile in the U.S. And he had both of his fights in Vegas, and now they're having the rematch in Vegas as well. So the way I see it is, it kind of looks like Fury's kind of looking to. I feel like maybe he thinks, or he's not as confident because he thinks this is his chance to this might be his last chance in a big money fight, and he really wants to like milk it and cash out, you know? So like he built the profile. He's trying to build up his profile because he wants this to be, the big money maker. Because that way, even if he loses, say he gets knocked out by Wilder, hopefully he'll make enough money where he can just like retire and live off of that. Another thing too with this fight is actually I was realizing I'm pretty sure this is the first time in Wilder's career he's been an underdog, right? I mean, he's technically a small underdog, but still an underdog. And if you look at Wilder's whole career, I think he's 40. It's either 43-0 or 42-0, and I think he's been a favorite every time. So I think it's kind of a cool opportunity to bet on Wilder as an underdog. I'm not really sure where the odds will go in this fight because there's a few things. I mean, usually when you're betting on a fighter who's like a big knockout guy and has exciting fights, usually people tend to bet their money on someone like that. So if you want to bet on someone who has a lot of knockouts, you want to bet early and not wait. But at the same time, someone like Fury, who's from England and has like that huge fan following, British fans are pretty crazy about their boxing. I mean, that's going to get a lot of money too, right? So I don't know, not really sure where the odds will go, but I would say that I remember last time they did fought. I remember that time I think I bet 1,800 on Wilder, and I think I bet most of it early when the odds opened at -120. And I remember by the time of the fight, I think Wilder was close to -180. So in the first time, it was better, you're best off to get your bets in right away if you're betting on Wilder. But, I mean, because it was a draw, it was just a push, so I got my money back. But, I didn't make anything, but didn't lose anything. So yeah, I would say too with this fight coming up, I really feel like all outcomes are possible. Because, while a lot of people say like, oh, either Wilder will knock him out, or Tyson Fury is going to win him by decision, right? But I don't necessarily think that's the case. I think, depending on how things go, maybe Wilder could win a decision, and I also think it's possible that Fury could knock him out. Because, I don't know, if Fury fights more aggressively, who knows? Wilder's defense isn't really that great. So I do think it's possible Fury knocks Wilder out or Fury wins a decision, and then it's possible Wilder knocks him out or wins a decision. But if I had to pick the most likely scenario, I'd probably go with Wilder by knockout. But, yeah, I do think, I guess lots could happen in this fight. I do prefer Wilder. I think, I don't know, just watching too over Wilder's career, I feel like he's consistently improved. If you look at Wilder when he won the heavyweight championship, 5 years ago against Stefan to him now, you can tell he's really gotten way better. And he looks a lot more confident in the ring. Whereas Fury, he's pretty much still the same fighter he was when he beat Klitschko all those years back, right? Another thing too, you look at Klitschko in his whole career, he's pretty much only fought two tough fighters, right? He fought Klitschko, I guess it was 5 years ago. He fought Klitschko, I guess it was 4 years ago. So he fought Klitschko 4 years ago, and then he fought Wilder last year. And other than that, he's really pretty much just had easy fights. And yeah, I haven't seen much improvement. I guess with Fury too is, he's been boxing his whole life, so he thinks he can just like turn it on and train hard. And I guess it kind of did that for the first fight. But another thing too with that first fight is I feel like going into that fight, Wilder was expected to win. He was supposed to have a big fight with Joshua after that. And then I really felt like Fury really overachieved in that fight and Wilder really underachieved in that fight. So I feel like, it's like in that fight you had the best of Fury and like the worst of Wilder, right? So, assuming Wilder doesn't make the same mistakes, and I can't imagine Fury's going to be so perfect for 12 rounds the way he was against Wilder, you figure, Wilder should have a better chance. And I felt too like the first fight Wilder choked a little bit because it seemed like he was really amped up and really was trying to go for the knockout and really press and force things. So hopefully going forward, in the rematch, I'll like calm down a little bit and, just settle in and don't try and force it so hard, and then I'm sure the knockout will come. So yeah, I guess that's all I really have to say. I'm pretty confident Wilder will win, but I'm not, it is heavyweights, and it still is kind of unpredictable. You never know what is going to happen, so I'm not betting that much. So far I've bet 400 to win 410, and I guess if the odds changed drastically and Wilder became even more of an underdog, then maybe I would put a little more on Wilder. But I mean, in general, I'm just not that comfortable betting a lot on Wilder because he is pretty unpredictable. He's unorthodox. I feel like sometimes with Wilder, it's like you never know what you're gonna get. So he's not someone that I'm really like comfortable betting a lot of money on. And at the same time, I also just not. I feel like at this point, it's kind of tough to confidently bet a ton on any of the heavyweights because they're all pretty unpredictable. So I usually, at this point, I'm assuming I'll keep my big bets for the lower weight classes, like middleweight or welterweight, whatever guys like Canelo and Spence. But yeah, so that's all for now. I like Wilder. I think it's a good bet. I would just say bet a little, and yeah, I mean it should be pretty exciting because the way the first fight went. So yeah, I'm excited too. Also, it's pretty rare I bet on underdogs. I'm usually betting on 3-1 favorites or 2-1 favorites. So yeah, I'm excited. And all right, guys, that's all for now. Have fun and go make some money. See you guys.